I don't even know where to start with this one, honestly. Watching this team right now has been brutal. Like, not just, we're in a slump brutal. I'm talking full-on gut punch every single night. And when you look at the standings and see us sitting dead last in the NHL, almost 10 points back of the next team, that hits different. That's not just a rough patch. That's a crisis. As fans, we can handle losing when there's a direction. We can handle rebuilding when there's hope. But when you're staring at the bottom of the league and wondering who's actually responsible for this mess, that's when things start to feel shaky. And something happened behind the scenes that might surprise a lot of people about where this is headed. Before we break it all down, if you're a real Canucks fan riding this roller coaster like the rest of us, hit that like button and subscribe. Canucks Nation Report is brand new. We're pushing for our first 400 subscribers, and this is a space for real fans who care about where this team is going. So the big question everyone's asking right now is simple. Could the Canucks fire head coach Adam Foote? Technically, of course they could. When you're sitting dead last in the NHL by nearly 10 points, nobody's job should feel completely untouchable. That's just the reality of professional sports today. But here's the twist. According to NHL insider Darren Dreger, the Canucks have absolutely no interest in firing Adam Foote right now. None. Dreger says management is actually very supportive of Foote. Not only that, but Foote is in constant dialogue with general manager Patrick Allvin and president of hockey operations Jim Rutherford. They're talking regularly. They're aligned. They're in sync. And honestly, that's important. Because with the calamity this team is going through, the last thing you want is a fractured relationship between the bench and the front office. Especially when you've got a roster full of young talent that's still developing. Communication matters. Stability matters, at least in theory. But here's where it gets complicated. Job security in this league is shrinking every year. Sports are more results-driven than ever. Owners are pouring insane amounts of time, money, and energy into these franchises, and they want a return on that investment. If you're not producing results, heads usually roll. Now, when it comes to Adam Foote, let's be fair here. He inherited an ugly situation. This wasn't some polished contender that suddenly fell apart under his watch. And let's not forget, former Canucks bench boss Rick Tache made a pretty swift exit this past offseason. You can't help but wonder if he saw what was coming. Foote walked into a mess. And in my opinion, this current disaster is not primarily on him. It's on management. Let's just lay this out clearly, because when you see the list all at once, it's staggering. Since the end of the 2023 to 2024 NHL season, the Canucks have lost Quinn Hughes JT, Miller Elias Lindholm, Nikita Zadorov, Kiefer Sherwood, Pius Suter, Dakota, Joshua Vasily Podkolzin, Ian Cole, Casey DeSmith, Arturs Silovs. That is not a minor roster shuffle. That's a core being ripped apart. Now yes, more recently the Canucks did manage to trade Quinn Hughes to the Minnesota Wild and Kiefer Sherwood to the San Jose Sharks, and they got returns. But when you zoom out, much of that lost talent has effectively turned into Philip Chytil, Marcus Pettersson, and Drew O'Connor. Are those bad players? No, they're fine players. But let's be honest with ourselves, that's not enough horsepower to compete in the Western Conference right now. It just isn't. You don't lose that much high-end talent and expect to stay competitive without a serious, well-executed long-term plan. And right now, it feels like we're stuck between rebuilding and trying to stay relevant. That middle ground is dangerous. This team needs a sustained run of quality draft selections. Not one good pick, multiple. It needs smart, strategic player acquisitions. And maybe more than anything, it needs a culture shift. Because something in that locker room has been off for over a year now. Leadership, identity, accountability. It's felt unstable. Which brings us to the bigger question, is this management's last chance? In my view, yes. Or at least close to it. Patrick Allvin has been GM since the 2022 season. Jim Rutherford has been here since the end of 2021. When they first arrived, there was real momentum. There were smart moves. There was optimism. But now, a lot of the talent from those early successes is in the rearview mirror. And the tide has turned fast. To be fair, the front office has done an adequate job building up the prospect pool. That's not nothing. But prospects alone don't win games at the NHL level. You need a complete roster vision. What the Canucks really need is a proper roster overhaul. Let the younger players get real reps at the pro level. Let them work consistently with the coaching staff. Let them develop properly instead of being thrown into chaos. And most importantly, Build a new culture inside that locker room. New leadership, new standards, new identity. Because right now, this group doesn't have one. So no, I don't think Adam Foote is the guy who should take the fall for this. Firing him might give you a temporary emotional reset, but it doesn't fix the structural issues that got us here. This is about direction. This is about whether this organization can finally commit to a clear path instead of trying to straddle two timelines. And if Alvin and Rutherford can't steer this franchise back toward relevance within the next 1 to 2 seasons, I genuinely believe someone else will get that opportunity. We're at a crossroads. This isn't just about being last place. It's about whether there's a plan to climb out of it. As fans, we don't expect miracles overnight, but we do expect progress. We expect accountability, and we expect this organization to honor the crest on that jersey. If you're feeling the frustration, or if you still believe there's a long-term plan here, drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about it. And if you're riding with us through the highs and the lows, hit like and subscribe to Canucks Nation Report. We're a new channel pushing toward our 400 subscribers, and this is a space for real Canucks fans who care deeply about where this team is headed. Because one way or another, the next couple of seasons are going to define the future of this franchise.